So I'm just getting home from work and I felt like picking up the camera and vlogging a bit because I am halfway through my second week of my lean bulk or my gaintaining period, and I kind of just wanted to take a second and chat about sort of my experience so far and some of the things that I've observed as I've changed my nutrition and changed my training. So today is November the 3rd. It is election day. It's also my older brother's 30th birthday, the big 3-0. So Alex, happy birthday. You are tripping. Lexapono video. So, things I noticed in the first week. Number one, obviously I mentioned this in the last video that I made. I increased the volume overall, adding in sets here and there. So my training volume went up last week. And as a result of that, I noticed that my energy expenditure also went up. So by the end of my recomp period, I would say I had sort of settled around 27 to 2800 as sort of my maintenance calories. And last week, I kind of had that jump again, not quite as drastic as when I went from not training at all, back to the gym and training. But I did notice a jump up to around 3000. And so after week one, with that increase in training volume and then bumping the calories up to 2800, if I'm being honest, I wasn't like terribly consistent with the nutrition. Actually, I take that back. For the majority of the week, I was pretty good at sticking to the calories, hitting my protein. So let's call it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it's been, pretty consistent and pretty good nutrition overall, making some of the choices that I would normally make. But then I would just kind of sit down and eat a shit ton of Halloween candy. I love Reese's Cups, and it's just a trigger. It's a trigger for me, you know what I mean? It's like one of those things I don't keep in the house because once I started, I just don't stop, you know what I mean? And they're like the little miniatures, so I'll sit there and eat like 15 of them in one sitting. And then of course, 20 minutes later, I feel like complete shit, and I'm not talking about like guilty for eating the candy, but just like literally physically, I just don't feel good from just a massive influx of sugar. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that because I thought it was kind of interesting, that the TDE went back up. I'm increasing my training volume, so it's reasonable to see an increase in my energy output, coupled with the fact that I'm getting minimum 10,000 steps a day. I would say there were several days last week where I went, I don't want to say well over that, but like more in like the 13,000 step range. And that obviously could attribute to that increase in energy output as well. Yeah, just kind of wanted to check in and kind of mention that because I thought it was interesting. And, maybe as you transition into a bulk, you can kind of have, sort of an additional recomp period. I might even call it, higher calories, but also recomp effects, because my weight hasn't really changed after the first week, and I didn't really expect it to, but I do feel like, especially when I'm in the gym and kind of have a pump, I feel like I'm more vascular and my muscles look fuller. So, definitely on the right track from a training standpoint. And nutrition, hoping to be a little bit more consistent this week. The goal is 2800, and as someone that's wanting to lean bulk or gaintain, I need to be at maintenance or just above. So I'm gonna keep an eye on my energy output this week, and if it's consistently at that 3000 mark for the next week, then next week, week 3, I'm gonna bump my calories up to 3000 and set that as the goal, because I'm not trying to be in a deficit, but that's just kind of naturally what happened in that first week. Obviously a very small deficit, and not every day, especially through the weekend, but we'll see. Right now it's about 4 o'clock. I'm gonna chill at the house for a bit, get changed, and then I am gonna go over to Nat's house and take the dogs for a nice long walk. So Nat they're on hip fracture protocol. Basically, she's got some extra surgeries, so she's gonna be at the hospital late tonight, which means I'm on my own for dinner. And tonight, I'm feeling some burgers. So I'm going to go get the dogs, take them for a nice walk, then I'm gonna hit the grocery store. When I get back to the house and start cooking, I'll check back in with you guys then. just smashed 3 burgers. And if you noticed kind of in the time lapse, you know, I choose ingredients that allow me to consume a high volume of food. And so when it comes to burgers, in order to minimize the calories, you need to do 3 things. The first is you need to choose a leaner cut of meat. And so I always go with the 93.7 lean ground beef. It costs a little bit more, but from a macros standpoint, it's far more optimal than, you know, the typical 80-20 chuck that most people buy. So 93.7 leaner cut, you're gonna have more protein, less fat, which means you're gonna have lower calories. The second thing you need to do is pick the bun that has the lowest calories. And so the one I had is like a potato bun. It's not the bun that I normally get. It's got about 20 calories more than the ones that I usually buy. But I try to pick the buns that have the lowest calories, because if you get like the fancy brioche buns or the Kaisers or the onion buns, you know, sometimes we're talking about north of 200 calories for a single bun. And in my opinion, it's just wasted calories. And then the third and final thing you need to do is get rid of the cheese. Unfortunately, you know, cheese, unless you get, you know, a fat-free cheese or a low-fat cheese, cheese, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion, just adds unnecessary calories. So those are the 3 things I like to focus on: lean ground beef, low-calorie bun, no cheese. So I smashed 3 fat burgers, and I made all 3 just the way I showed. I like pickle, I like onion, and I put some spinach on there for some micros, and then just ketchup and mustard. And it's how I like to do it. So I'll throw the calories and the macros on the screen for those 3. And then I'm gonna finish off the night with some carbs. If you notice, I didn't really have any kind of carb or starch with this meal. But I'm gonna finish the night off with some oatmeal and a little bit of peanut butter in there as well. And that's gonna wrap up the day. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to throw it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm going to be documenting this entire lean bulk. I'm going to try to be better about vlogging, you know, maybe once or twice a week. And at the end of the day, like, these videos are really for me. I think it's nice to kind of have sort of a diary or an homage to the journey. And it's something that keeps me accountable for, you know, doing what I need to do, sticking to my calories, sticking to my macros. Training, I've never had an issue with, you know, staying motivated to go to the gym. I love to lift. But yeah, if you guys want to follow along, again, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.